We begin this hour with breaking news. Secret Service officers scrambling, guns drawn after a man brandishing a gun is shot near the White House. Good evening. Glad you're with us tonight. I'm Adam Longo.
And I'm Leslie Foster. This all happened near a gate at 17th and E Streets. That is on the west side of the White House complex. And here is what we know. A little before 3:15 this afternoon, that man reportedly showed that gun to a Secret Service agent outside the White House gate, and that man was shot. He was taken to George Washington University Hospital. DC Fire and EMS says he was in critical condition. Sources say he was apparently trying to commit suicide by cop.
Now, immediately after the shooting, the White House was put on lockdown. It remained that way until about 4 o'clock. Lafayette Park and nearby roads were shut down. Now, at this point, we believe that man was the only person injured.
We have a team of reporters in and around the White House covering this story, and we start with Garrett Hay. Garrett.
Leslie, you can just imagine the enormous disruption this situation caused. Take a look at Lafayette Park behind me. This is not what this is supposed to look like on a busy, beautiful Friday afternoon, but the moment that shot rang out, as the White House went into lockdown, Secret Service and Park Police, who train for this all the time, sprung into action to clear the park completely of tourists who had gathered here. We were told that people were running, that Secret Service was perhaps a bit more forceful than they usually are. From someone we spoke to just a few minutes ago who's been here for many of this. This is an activist who's here and has moved out of the park every time someone jumps the fence, every time there is a lockdown here. He described a situation a little bit more tense than usual. Take a listen.
Look at he split out of the park. No! Turn around! No pictures! I mean, really, and yeah, because people tend to like to turn around and take pictures of the White House.
And then how were the tourists and folks reacting to all this?
Tourists, they were in shock but listening because they were being yelled at.
Yeah, it was a scary situation, and so I didn't know what was going on. The first thing I thought of was that, perhaps someone had jumped the fence. You hear about that happening too frequently, so that's what I assumed had happened, but didn't know. I didn't hear shots or anything, but it was very clear that there was something serious.
So now we know. Now that we know that there was a shooting, but at the time, your first indication that something was wrong was when Secret Service came out.
Well, they're screaming at you, yelling, they're whistling. There's there's a bunch of school kids out there, kind of freaking out. They don't know what what's going on. People are trying to get everybody out of the street and to safety. So it was it's not what I expected when I came to get some pictures.
There was a white man walking with a gun towards the White House. The Secret Service or the police told him to stop. They told him to stop repeatedly. He didn't stop, and they shot him.
As well as to witnessing the shooting. So there you hear witnesses describing all kinds of reaction to this scene, as well as to watching the shooting itself take place. I can tell you that as soon as these tourists were cleared out, security rushed in. We saw armed officials from both the Secret Service and the Park Police, including armed with long guns, take a position on the edges of the park, on the roofs of the building, as the situation here turned into that tense lockdown situation for a short while. We are told now that lockdown has been lifted, the park not yet open. We expect to see that reopen soon. For now, guys, back to you.
Garrett, thanks. We're going to head right down the street now from your location to WUSA 9's Ileana Diaz, who is at Pennsylvania and 17th, just up the street from where the shooting happened at 17th and E. Ileana, what do you have?
Now, a lot of people.
Well, right now, mood obviously a lot more calm than it was just an hour or two away. What you're seeing right now is, again, the corner of 17th and Pennsylvania Avenue. You can still see a lot of Secret Service and police around, still keeping a lot of people away from the area because naturally this is a very popular place for tourists, and many of them were here when those shots rang out, and this is what they had to say.
We were a little bit over that way. The shooting happened 5-10 feet back on the left-hand side. That's where he was, and that's where they put him down on the ground, had him handcuffed, and all the guns and everything came out.
I turn, and then I hear the gunshot. So when they turn again, he was on the floor. And I told my family the guy got shot.
All the security guards are starting to come out on their bikes, pushing everybody out of the lawn, telling everybody to leave. Now, as you can imagine, it was a moment of pure chaos. We were all very scared, fired up. We had never pictured something like that happening before.
Well, you just heard it, a lot of chaos and a lot of tension, but all of that over now. People say that, again, they were standing here when it happened, and that's why a lot of them were actually in the area because they were taking selfies, several of those people that you just heard from. And we're actually here right now in the media staging area where we're still waiting for a sergeant to come from Park Police to speak to us. When those details are revealed about exactly what happened, we will share that with you. Reporting live near the White House, I'm Ileana Diaz, WUSA 9.
All right, Ileana, in the meantime, let's get to Ellison Barber, who is live outside George Washington University Hospital, where the suspect was taken. Ellison, what do we know about this suspect?
Well, very little so far in terms of the suspect. We do know that someone was brought here. That suspect was brought here in critical condition. Sources have told us that he was shot multiple times, possibly in the chest area. So far, we haven't heard anything from the hospital, but sources tell us that he was brought here. DC Fire and EMS is only confirming right now that one person was transported from the scene, the hospital closest to the White House, and was in critical condition. We're here working on getting more information from the hospital, but so far, all we can officially confirm is that one person was brought here in critical condition. Reporting live at George Washington Hospital, I'm Ellison Barber, WUSA 9.
All right, Ellison, that's the view from there. Jan Jeffcoat is looking at the view from social media.
That's right, Jan. You've seen some people who were there posting videos and pictures. What are they saying about what happened?
Yeah, some great video coming from social media right now, so let's get right to it. We want to go right now to Bruce LeShan, who posted this interview that he got with Carolina Herrera. Listen to this.
Telling us to get out, that there had been a shooting, get out, and that's all we know. It was very scary.
You didn't see him display any weapon?
I did not see any weapon. I saw him on the ground. They were on top of him with handcuffs, but I did not see any weapon on him. All we heard was yelling. We saw the smoke from the gun, but we didn't see anything else.
But isn't that incredible? She saw the smoke from the gun. That's how close she was to that. And this is from someone who wrote sirens all over the place. Hashtag White House shooting. And this is from Sergio, who writes, taping off the White House after the shooting that just happened. Adams actually got a video right here running from Lafayette Park. He writes, I ran away from Lafayette Park as it was being evacuated just now. Want to be safe in case of gunfire. But look at all those tourists coming down there. This is right across from the White House, by the way. And from Shanita, she writes, avoid 17th and Constitution Avenue in D.C. Traffic is crazy down here due to the shooting near the White House. And of course, we're told that area will be closed for at least another couple more hours while they continue to investigate that area. Garrett writing, Pennsylvania Avenue still entirely shut down in front of the White House. And then finally, Minnie writes, tourists pushed to peripheral of White House after shooting. Of course, White House as well as Secret Service still one of the top trending stories right now on Twitter. Adam?
All right, Jan, thank you. Now that we do know that President Obama was not at the White House when this happened, Vice President Biden, though, was on the property. Secret Service say he was, quote unquote, secured during the course of this. As more details emerge on this story, of course, we'll bring them to you throughout the newscast.
And look for breaking news 24 hours a day on our WUSA 9 News app. There is other news to get to on this.